Hello and welcome back. Today we are looking at the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem Sewer Lair Playset, which is the sweet sewer home of the Ninja Turtles. This is the new main playset for the Turtles Mutant Mayhem line. Here we have the box everything comes in. You can see it's got the standard purple brick artwork with the turtles on the side that we're now familiar with the other turtles figures we've taken a look at recently. On the front of the packaging we have a standard product shot of the Sewer Lair playset, full of figures which are not included in this. We also have a side shot of the playset being played with a kid, noting that this is over 25 inches tall. We're going to take a look at the rest of the packaging, but let's take a look at the front first. So at the top here it looks like we've got what I suspect is going to be a cardboard backdrop full of various mutants which are due, I guess, to appear in the upcoming film. We have Superfly, Wingnut, Mondo Gecko, Genghis the Frog, Filet, and then further down we actually have the figures themselves posed within the playset, and they appear to be detailing some of the 20 plus features in the 3 areas of play. This appears to include a zip line, some sort of kicking motor action, and possibly the drop of a light. I guess we'll take a look and see in a bit. Down at the bottom of the packaging we have the summary of the contents. So this includes one playset, as you'd kind of hope it does, one ooze ball, which doesn't appear to be on the front. Maybe we'll see that in a minute. One ooze packet. Oh, so we actually get some ooze inside of this. That's really good to see. Normally stuff like that is sold separately, and as far as I'm aware, in the case of all previous Sewer Lair playsets, the ooze has had to be bought separately, so it's nice to see a sample packet included. Now I do happen to have some ooze here, but hopefully we shouldn't need this. Now I'm going to say that I am in the UK. I've gotten all of my stuff or Mutant Mayhem stuff so far from Smith's Toys Superstores. They have been selling out rapidly. My local store went from having half a dozen of these to absolutely none in the space of the week, and I had to travel about 45 minutes to go get this. Also, I understand that the ooze isn't currently available in the States. I have no idea when it will be, though I assume it probably will be in the near future. You're looking out for these canisters. But at the very least it does look like that you'll get at least a sample packet of ooze inside the playset. You get one weight bench, which Raph seems to be using. We do get a zip line, and we get a ooze bath table. Again, I can't see that on the product shot, but we'll obviously see that soon. Now let's take a look at the rest of the packaging. So up top we have a summary of some of the features. This includes 3 areas of play, a playphone periscope, which is now a staple piece of these Sewer Lair play sets, harkening right back to the original toys line. A drop-down staircase. Well, now what kids playset isn't complete with some sort of drop-down trap? We have the standard artwork for the series, for the merchandising. A brief note that the figures are sold separately. On the side, we have some more summaries of the play features, including a rolling ooze ball attack, ooze baddies. So it looks like we can use the pipe to drop ooze on our villains, which is reminiscent of the 2012 playsets. Not that I owned them, but I have seen plenty of them, and they did have what almost looked identical to that. We have Take the Toilet Elevator. Lovely. But no, what playset isn't complete without a toilet elevator? Again, a reminder that your figures are sold separately. On the back, we have more product shot. This looks like it shows all of the included content, so I'm guessing that's the ball. That must be the table. That's the weight rack we know about, and there's our ooze pipe itself. Up here we have a brief bio of the product. Lair Playset, home sweet sewer home. Travel with the turtles from the New York City streets, through the subway system, into the sewers, and to the lair. It's the perfect home for this mean green crime-fighting team that's loaded with tons of fun features and lots of surprises. 20 features and lots of interaction. Summary down here of the various play features. I'm not going to go over them now because I want to see what they're like when we open this. A further summary of the actual playset contents. So it's nice to see that's included quite vividly throughout this, and the other side contains more summaries of the play features, including a zip line attack, hidden vault entrances, bench press launchers, and multiple play configurations. And the underside of the packaging, we have our standard Lego Mumbo Jumbo barcode, ooze caution, so this may cause an allergic reaction. We need to protect our play surfaces before use. Do not use on any surfaces that could be damaged by water. Ooze may stain or stick to stone surfaces. Avoid carpets, clothing, walls, and furniture. So kids, if you're watching this, don't go throwing your ooze about. To remove ooze, wash hands with laundry detergent and warm water. So I am going to say that obviously I've seen the ooze, I've played with the ooze. This is quite a sticky ooze. It's quite watery, but it is sticky. Just in playing with the ooze, the amount that got stuck to my hand, I've lost a quarter of the bottle already. So I can see this being used quite quickly. I can see this getting stuck to a lot of kids' hands. Just bear that in mind. I don't like this ooze as much as the 2012 line. You know, I've discovered this since my initial review. So I do want to add that. I still like it. I still think it's nice and watery, so it should go down the sewer pipes and things really nicely. But yeah, when you get it on your hands and things, it can get quite sticky. I'm not quite sure how getting this off your toys is going to be either. Maybe we'll have a go at looking at that later. Back down to the bottom of the playset, or the box, we can see a further summary, including a picture of what's included. So we have our playset, our bench, ball, bath table, and I assume that's the packet of ooze. And then here we have a summary or a further product shot of the figures which we can get for this playset. This is the first wave of figures. I am aware that a second wave has since been announced, which has included things like Filet, Genghis Khan, and Wingnut. They're due towards the holiday season. So hopefully they will be released and they can be added to our playsets. Right, let's get this opened up and take a look at what we've got. Immediately on opening the packaging, you can see there's going to be a lot of assembly needed. So kids, please ask your parents or guardians for help. I'm going to pull this out. I'm going to see what the pieces are. I'll give an overview of what we've got, and then we will look at assembly. So this is how everything comes when you pull it straight out of the boxes. You can see everything's nicely packaged well. Things like the ball are protected in tissue paper. The sewer layer is packed in a plastic bag. Various bits and bits are bound in cardboard. I'm going to open this all up and take a look, and then I'll come back. And I'm back. As you can see, I've moved to another room in the house just because of the size of this thing. I need the space to get this assembled. This is the bits out of the packaging. I'm guessing everything is here. I guess I'll find that out as I go through building this. So yeah, I'm going to start assembling this, and I'll come back with a further update shortly. The first thing I want to cover as part of the assembly is, yes, as suspected, the vast majority, or the upper half of this playset, is a cardboard backdrop. We'll see how far the plastic goes up once everything's assembled. However, before I start assembly, I want to take a measurement of the cardboard so you can see how high up the cardboard goes, which will give you an idea if you're going to have the space or not. So, looking at it from the tallest point of the cardboard down to the base of the cardboard, it appears to be about 19 inches or 48 centimeters, give or take a little. Do bear in mind that this will be partially hidden by some of the plastic pieces. Whether or not having it attached to the plastic is essential for assembly, we'll see shortly, but I will cover that when I come back. The other thing I just want to quickly note is there is a small sticker sheet. Yep, just a small one this time. It's less stickers than the turtle van, and appears to be around a dozen stickers, maybe just under. There's 10 here, but number 4 is covered twice, so you're probably looking at about 11. Oh no, so yeah, there's about a dozen. There's 12 there, 12 stickers, so you're about looking at about a dozen stickers to go through. Oh, I like that one, which appears to be the turtles bathing in their ooze. Interestingly, it says radioactive material. There's no comment about TCRI, TGRI, anything like that. I wonder if that's a hint at the film that the now infamous science lab is not a part of this film. Given we're seeing Baxter Stockman, it would be interesting to know how that plays in, who the creators of the turtles were, and what the intended origin of the ooze was for. Otherwise, stickers, we have a bit with a mat and some half-eaten pizza. You can see here Mikey looking through what I assume is going to be the telescope. I assume that's going to be the base part of the telescope, and spying on the humans. There appears to be a rug, a clock, and some Subway stickers. So yeah, I'm going to get this assembled. I'm going to come back and we're going to go through everything. See you soon. So before assembly, I always highly recommend placing the stickers on, and I'm currently going through the stickers. The instructions show the stickers as part of the included components rather than its own summary as per, say, the turtle van. It's a little annoying, but it's not that difficult. The only thing I want to note is that number 10, which appears to be the rug, is actually going to cover up some really nice moulding in parts of the plastic here. You can see the floor's cracked. You can see some stonework, some metal railing, possibly even underneath, which is a little disappointing. It's really nice moulding throughout this, and I could see some customizers really bringing out the detail in this. So it's a little shame to see so much of that moulding get hidden up. But I guess it is what it is. I just wanted to note that so people could see that, you know, this moulding goes throughout. It's highly detailed, or looks like it's going to be highly detailed. If you find yourself unpacking everything and unsure where your ooze is, it's tucked away in our portable toilets, which I guess makes a gross sort of sense. Surprisingly, this is actually appears to be in a Ziploc bag, which I'm really happy about. Most of the times when you get this sample stuff, it's in a disposable bag. So as soon as you tear it, it's left to the elements. However, this is in a Ziploc bag, so when kids are finished with it, or even adults, you can put it away in the bag and keep it for another playtime. I suspect once I've done playing with this, I'm going to put it in with the rest of the use of my canister. So it's all together. The bag does have obviously safety warnings throughout. Kids, please be careful when you're playing with the ooze. Don't get it on your carpet. Your parents will kill you. Yeah, don't throw it. And while it's non-toxic, don't go eating it. I also just want to quickly show the portable toilet, which does have a toilet and sink and everything else really moulded into this, which is some nice touches there. So yeah, I'm going to get back to the assembly. I'll be back again with a further update. Still going through the stickers, however, I just want to quickly note that as part of the assembly of the train tunnel, you get two of the railings. These are listed as 33A and 33B. They are numbered. I don't know if you can see it, but yeah, 33B, 33A. This will obviously be important for assembly and for applying some of the stickers. So just bear that in mind while you're assembling. Right, most of the assembly is still done. As you can see, I've yet to put the cardboard on. However, I wanted to quickly have a quick look at this without the cardboard backing on, so you can see sort of the sizing and things without it. As you can see here, the card is actually about half the size of the playset as a whole. And in terms of actual sort of standable, playable area, it's over half the size, which is a little disappointing. This is a much smaller playset than we've seen in previous iterations, which is a little disappointing. However, this obviously takes up a lot less space, which is also a plus size. Pricing wise, this was $89.99, so it was cheaper than the other larger play sets have been in the past, but not by a huge amount. But nonetheless, I'm certain looking at this so far, kids will get a huge kick out of this. They'll love playing it. Parents won't mind that this doesn't take up the entire living room either. So yeah, as I said, this is without the backing on. Everything's fairly stable. Nothing's sort of falling away or anything. So if you do not have the space to put the cardboard backing on when you're assembling this, you should be okay. But yeah, I'm going to put the cardboard backing on and then I'll come back and we'll take a final look at this. And here we have the completed Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Sewer Lair playset. Assembly was easy. Instructions are fairly clear throughout. There were a couple of bits where they could have been clearer on which way round things are supposed to connect, but if you follow things carefully, you should be fine. As you will see, and as I mentioned earlier, the cardboard backing makes up about half the size of the play set. Arguably you know, it's less than half, but most of the play set sort of ends around here. But there are places you can stand your turtles. You should be able to get one behind there. You shouldn't get one up there. You've got the zip line here. And there is playability on the back of this as well, which is a nice touch. I'll cover that in a minute. So before we bring the turtles in to have a look at some of the play features, let's have a look at the set itself. So starting at the top, we do have the cardboard backing, as mentioned. Got various mutants bursting through a New York apartment building. It's a nice touch. I'm not sure how I feel about that, you know, because we've already got Superfly. So having him on here kind of distracts from the fact that you've also got the action figure, and the fact that these other mutants are getting action figures later on as well. So yeah, I can understand why they're on there. It adds, you know, an image to the background rather than just some plain old apartment block. But equally, I do feel, you know, when kids are playing with it, they want to use their imaginations. They want to imagine that, you know, Superfly's down here or whatever. And then they've got him up here as well, so it's a little meh. But it is what it is. And worst case scenario, if you really, really didn't want to, you can take the cardboard backing off. It does look a little bare, as you saw earlier in the other video. The backing does add a lot of life to this. But again, if you really, really didn't want it on, you can take it off. So, after the cardboard back, we have a telephone wire. It's just done in a simple brown plastic. I maybe would have liked a couple of stickers here, just to add some life to it. But yeah, other than that, its purpose is solely for the zip wire and to hold the back in place. Further over, we have what will be our drainage, which you can pull the slime down. There's a lift up lid here, which you should be able to stand a figure on quite nicely. Instructions and pictures also show that you can use the ooze ball there. I assume the idea is you put the ooze inside the ball and then it just slowly slimes out and down. The ooze ball does have just a locking mechanism, but from what I understand it isn't airtight, so you're not going to be able to use it as a storage for your ooze. Moving down, we have the front entrance to the apartment block. The doors open and there is a kicking mechanism, which I'll show you in a minute, on the back, which adds playability and the ability to hopefully kick these doors open. The back has some nice details further down here. We have a barber shop, we have a clothes shop with some graffiti, which is almost a staple of Ninja Turtles at this point. Then back over on the other side, we have the telephone pole, telephone point, which rotates, and as part of the play feature you can lift up so that the turtles can spy on New York. There's a couple of stickers on here which are very easy to apply and they add a lot of life to it. Then we have the main top of the playset, which has a New York street scene, a sewer grate, which adds to the play feature in a minute, and what I suppose is supposed to be part of the subway track. There's a red button here which adds to one of the play features below, and a basketball net, but that doesn't seem to do much beyond just bouncing up and down. Moving across, we have a sewer lid which lifts up, and that adds to the part of the play feature with the ooze ball in a minute. You can see here it says TMNT sewer. You've got a ladder for the turtles or whoever to climb up. below we have the turtle's lair. We have the porta potty elevator, doors open and you can put a figure inside. We then have our table slash bathtub, which can turn over, and as shown as in the instructions, as collecting the ooze as part of the drainage system. We have the periscope, which twists the telephone pole. We have the slime rack, which is supposed to be removable so that you can clean it after use. With one hand it's a little difficult to remove. You then have a weapons rack here, so you can put the turtle's weapons there, and you have a couple punching bags. We also have a weight system which you can flick up and acts as a another play feature. And then the final detachable part of the play set is this subway entrance. The subway entrance can connect at various points to the play set itself. You can connect it here, and that allows you to then tie the string on for the zip line and for the other ball dropping action. Alternatively, when you're packing it away, you can lift it up and connect everything. You can actually connect it together so it's all just part of one playset. There is a stair dropping mechanism here, but the stairs themselves are so stiff that even when you press it you need to push weight on it to drop it, but we'll explore that in a bit. As you come around the other side of the entrance, you have some more of the cardboard, and it's nice that it bends round to give an image on the rear, or part of the rear anyway. Really needs another peg down here just to hold this in place, and I might get some tape to hold that. But other than that, the pegs throughout do hold everything in place quite nicely. You have an entrance to the turtle there, and the elevator action mechanism. And then on the back here we have a stand for the turtles, or your figures. Another stand so you can enter through the secret door, and a movable ladder which you can then use to drop down or have the figure standing on. I like the fact that the back has some added play, and that's fallen off. Has added playability. Would have been nice if we'd had some sort of wraparound cover, even if it had been just the exact same image on the back, just because when you're playing with the back you've just got the white background. But again, I assume as some sort of cost saving mechanism that it's only printed one side. So let's get some figures in place and let's take a look at some of the features. One thing I forgot to mention before we move on to the figures is the dimensions of this. So height wise, from the top of Superfly's wing down to the bottom of the playset, it stands at about 68 centimeters, or just under 27 inches. The width on it from the subway to the end of the manhole cover is about 30 inches, or just around 77 centimeters. So it is a reasonably sized playset. It will take up some space, but as I've said before, it's not as big as the Lair playsets we've had since the 2012 line, which were 4+ feet in height. I mean, with the Rise one, if we had got the second playset, which was going to stack on top of each other, that would have been absolutely massive sadly that never came to fruition. But yeah, on the one hand, it's a little disappointing not to have such a huge playset with so many levels. I imagine a lot of kids would really like that and get a lot out of it. But equally, it's kind of nice to have a slightly smaller set so that it does take up less space, but is still just as playable as the others. So it's a sort of swings and roundabouts thing. So before we start looking at some of these play features, let's have a look at scaling with other toy lines and how they fit in. If you want to use this for other play or photography or whatever reasons you may have, let's start with one of the NECA TMNT figures. You can see here that it stands nicely on it for display. However, it is clearly too large for any sort of real play on here, or scale wise it's overly big for the doors, and down here, while he fits, it doesn't scale particularly well, but that's to be expected given the NECA ones are 7 inches and this is primarily designed for 5-inch figures. We will try a 6-inch figure, which is obviously standard sizing. You can see it fits a little better than the 7-inch scale figures, but again, it's still mostly probably a little too big for it. But yeah, I mean, you could have this for display purposes with other sort of 6-inch line figures reasonably well. But as I said, this is obviously designed for 5-inch scale figures. Primarily are Mutant Mayhem turtles. You can see the scaling on this is perfect. I mean, Mikey looks about the right size for the doors. Yep, he could come through the doors nicely and out onto the street, where it can interact with other aspects of this play set. So let's start looking at those play features. And here we have Rocksteady standing on the subway stairwell, which is used for a number of play features, including the zip line. We've got Mikey ready to zip down, so let's see if this works. Booyakasha! Oh. So while that worked incredibly well, Rocksteady fell before he could Mikey could hit him, so let's try that again. Okay, let's try that again. Now we've got him set up nicely, and Mikey comes swinging down, and where it's moved, the zip line hasn't become taut enough for this to work, so I'm going to try this again. So for this to work, this does need to be as taut as entirely possible, otherwise the figures do become too heavy for the zip line. So let's try this one last time. So it works. Unfortunately, the figures don't have enough strength to actually knock the figure down, but it hits the figure, sends them into the stairwell, where we should be able to release the stairwell and send our figures flying. So let's have a look at that. Okay, so you press the stairwell and this is supposed to lower. Unfortunately, a combination of the peg underneath being ever so slightly too long, and this being a very stiff mechanism, it doesn't quite work as expected. So you need to put a little pressure on there where they do eventually drop down. And when it works, it's impressive. It's a fun feature. Unfortunately, it is an annoyance, and I can see kids being frustrated with that. I don't think I can get the camera in to properly show you. No, I don't think we're going to. Yeah, you can see there's the lip for the hinge mechanism. Unfortunately, it is ever so slightly too long, and the stairwell's a little too heavy. So you can see here we've got the stairwell set up again, and you see it doesn't quite. But in order to act, but even then you kind of need to press it. I wonder if we leave it unhinged, if you could work it that way. Let's have a look. Right, so just because he's a smaller figure, I'm going to use Leo here. As you can see, it was quite fiddly to get it reset up, but let's try this again. And he's already fallen. So yeah, the zip line, when it's taut enough, works really well, and it's a fun feature. Unfortunately, the stairwell is a disappointing annoyance in that it's too heavy with the grip in place. I might try and sand the grip, the locking mechanism down just a bit, see if that helps. But yeah, as a play feature for kids, I can imagine a lot of kids being quite disappointed with that, which is a shame. Nonetheless, that brings us down to the bottom of our subway tunnel. As you can see here, there is a sewer entrance, so we can have our turtle figures come through to face off whoever may be down there. You have a figure that can stand in quite nicely. Now, one of the play features here is the railway track itself. This railway track is doubled up, and with a little force you can move this one aside to create two. So then you can see here, so it can either extend into the playset quite nicely, or as is intended, you lift it up, connect it here, and then we're going to use this with the ooze ball. So I'm going to fill this up with some ooze, and we're going to have a look at the play features for that. Okay, so here we have our ooze ball. It has a little stopper in it. As you can see here, it just clips in and twists it shut, and a locking mechanism. As I mentioned earlier, I don't know if this is completely airtight, and I have, from what I've seen, I don't think it is. Whether that's intended as part of the play feature or not, I don't know. We have our little baggie of ooze. You need to snip the top off first before the zip before you can open it. So kids, ask for your parents' assistance again. We pour our ooze into this ball. There it is. There we go. You can see this is quite runny, which is nice. However, I do feel that Play-wise, this was quite a watery, quite a slimy one. It left a lot of residue on my hands when I was playing with one of the mutagen canisters the other night, and after I'd finished playing and put it away, and when I washed my hands, washing my hands ended up taking away a quarter of the bottle of the vial, just because of how much had been stuck left to my hands. As you can see here, it's all stuck inside the packaging. That residue you've got there is what you can sort of expect to see on your hands after you've finished. So yeah, you can see here we've got a nice thick a nice about half a bottle. So put the lid in, let's have a look. Oh, it is airtight. Or at least from what I can see, it's airtight. You just need to make sure that the switch is tabbed. If it's not, I would imagine it's going to start oozing out quite quickly. So we'll see on that. So let's have a little fun, shall we? So we get our ooze. Now this is going to go here. You lift up the sewer cover, which has got a clip on it. Put that there. Now the instructions have this completely sealed up, but I'm kind of interested in see how that works with it open. So what will happen is we will lift this up, and hopefully the ball should roll down here onto here, and it should hit our figure. So let's see if that works. So it didn't knock the figure over, but it did hit him. As you can see, the air bubbles stopped it from oozing out. So it hasn't worked quite as maybe we'd hoped. Let's try again, shall we? Let's try one of the less stable figures in with Superfly. Let's see what happens when he's hit with mutagen ooze. Okay, so we have our canister lifted up, falls down, rolls, and there it is. It hit our figure. It doesn't ooze them, but yeah, that was the point of the ball, and that works fun. Well, it's a nice fun play feature, which I think the kids are really going to enjoy. So for looking at the rest of this, I'm actually going to unclip the subway tunnel. All you need to do to take the zip line off is literally just unclip it from there, or unclip it from there. I'm going to take the subway station away and give us a little more room to look at the rest of the playset with. I'm going to take a look at the other slime mechanic in this, which is the waste pipe, which supposedly we can use the ball with, and it tells us to use the bathtub. So obviously we don't have to use the bathtub. You know, for this purpose I'm going to use the bathtub just so we can no, actually I'm going to change my mind. I'm not going to use the bathtub. I'm going to have figures loose. So I'm going to use little baby turtles and see how it works. Now these are the turtles you get with the individual figures. However, I've actually customized them. I've painted the shells just to give them a little more life. So yeah, let's get the little baby turtles in here. And while we're talking of the baby turtles, one of the stickers which I showed earlier is actually hidden up here, so you can lift it up and you can see down there Splinter and the turtles rolling in the ooze. Okay, so we have our baby turtles. The waste pipe moves much like the 2012 line, so you get them there, lift up the lid, and then just slowly pour that out. Let's see how that looks. Oh, that's going straight down the pipe. Just pouring nice and freely, sending it down the pipe. Taking a while. I'm going to get the pipe ooze moving and we'll see what happens. So it took a moment for the ooze to come out, but it does work. You can see it oozing out over here. That's sliming our baby turtles and mutating them into the teens they will become. It's a nice runny ooze. You can see it running down quite thick. It takes a while to get going and it takes a while for it to reach the bottom, but when it does, it all starts oozing out really, really quickly. That started oozing out in the moment between me pausing the camera and oh, there's the final globule. Thick ooze all over our turtles. But yeah, between the seconds I paused the camera, it started oozing out freely. The instructions do tell you once you've finished playing to rinse off the the ball and the waste pipe with warm water, and as I mentioned earlier, this should be detachable quite easily. So as you can sort of see, I'm trying not to get this everywhere, but based on just me picking the ooze up from here and putting it away, my hands are covered in it. It's sticky, slimy for lack of a better word, but it is sticky and you do end up with a lot left over. I know some people have asked me about this as a sensory toy and things. Unfortunately it probably is too slimy to use in work or educational spaces as a sensory toy, just because your hands get too slimy, wet, with lots left over. I've just quickly washed my hands. Just a little warm water really quickly takes it off. So clean up of the slime is easy. It's easy enough to pick up, though I will say it's left, I don't think you can see it on the camera, it has left a slight bubble on the sticker and around there at the edges. You can see a little damp. So the stickers might be affected, especially over time, with the ooze. But as I said, it's easy cleanup. The slide feels dry already. I haven't put any warm water through that yet, but I will before I put this away. Let's look at the rest of the play features on this before we move on. What other play features does this have then? Well, we have this table bathtub, which is designed to go there as a table, or over there for a bathtub ooze collection. It's a bit of an odd feature. I don't think it's overly necessary, but I suppose it adds as a nice easy collection base for the ooze when kids are playing with it. So extra features are never something to scoff at. While we're down in the sill, we'll look at the other play features we have. So first off, we have the punching bags. We have two punching bags, one of the big sacks, one of the little rubber ones. They're just held on to a hook with a string, so you can have the turtles punch and beat those anytime. As I mentioned, we have our weapons rack, which does hold your turtles' weapons quite nicely. Unfortunately, the drainage pipe gets in the way of some of them, so it's not the most ideally placed bit, but nonetheless it's a nice feature to have. In the back we have a secret door, which when clipped shut is actually very difficult to pry open. I'm just going to... Right, so like the idiot I am, I've been trying to open this the right way, so it looks like it pulls, but it doesn't. You actually push it open, but it still takes quite a bit of strength to get it open. So kids may end up just leaving it to a slight hook, which is fine. Once it's open, there is a stand back here, so you can stand a figure in it and then bring them through. So we use Leo for this. Leo's going out, and then they've got the stand they can be posed on, supposedly. Yeah, but you know, it's actually a decent size, so they can pretty much move through freely without having to do that whole bit. The entrance here is a lot smaller, so figures will need to crawl through. As we've seen, we have the ladder. This is just on a slight swing, so you could probably use that as a kicking mechanism, though there is a dedicated one further up. To get to the surface, we have the porta potty lift. So to use the lift, we just have our turtle open it and walk inside. Can fit a figure nicely in there. And curious if we can get a bigger figure in there. Let's have a look. So we'll use Rocksteady again. He sort of fits, but you can't get the door closed. So the bigger figures won't necessarily fit in there. They are wide enough, but faces as they stick out and things may become an issue. Obviously your mileage might vary on that, but we'll get Leo back in. Close the door up so you can push and lock the door. There is a lever on the side. Just push or pull that up. So you just push that up, and as you will see, the lift mechanism just pushes the lift up. Sorry, doing this one-handed is a little difficult. Let's see if we can get this set up in some sort of position to finish off the look. So yeah, you then move it up, it lifts the sewer crate up and comes into a final position there. Right, something to be warned and mindful of is without bottom clips this cardboard comes away quite easily, which means you can't actually push the lift up all the way. Something to be mindful of. So you need to make sure the cardboard is pushed back, and then you can finish lifting it up. And then there is just a lip there which holds it in place. Right. And then open the porta potty lift, and the turtle can step out onto the street. One thing I have forgotten to mention about the sewer lair, actually, there is a play feature in the lair which is activated up on the street level. So let's get one of our villains. We're going to pick on Rocksteady yet again. And comes down right into the centre. You see the light switch up here. You can press a button and the thing just falls on his head. And then, I don't know if you can see it, but there's a little dial just to wind it back up. As mentioned, we have a basketball hoop. Unfortunately, there's no basketball to be used with this like there was with the Rise toy. But really all it is for your turtle to grip onto and swing down and kick the villain. So on the surface, we've gone through most of the play features already, which activate the lifting mechanism for the use ball and the periscope phone booth. The one other feature that's up here to look at is these doors. So So when you turn it around, you'll see that there's a stair ladder on the back here, which can be used as a swing. You've got a stand for the turtles, but you've also got grips here, and you've also got a ledge that they can stand on. So the idea is to attach a turtle, let it go down, and they should bust open the doors and knock over whoever's in front of them. Let's see if this works. As you can see, we have Bebop stood up on the top steps. It was a little awkward to get him posed up there. It's really designed for thinner figures like the turtles, but for the purpose of this it should do. So we have our turtle, our villain there, and we have our turtle here. So we take that up, and that came off. Okay, let's try that again. So we have our figure, lift him up, and it fell off. Right, hopefully third time's the charm. So, or not. So one of the big problems I'm having is when you lift this up, it does become detached. It's not a tight enough grip. And additionally, the turtle hands aren't gripping tight enough either. So, okay, so here we are. Let's try this again. So we have Leo at the top of the ladder, Bebop down here, and the idea is that you should just let it go, and Leo fell off before he could swing through. Okay, I've removed the villain this time, and I'm not lifting it as high. I'm just going to see if we can get Leo to swing open and kick the doors. This is going to be easier said than done, just because he keeps coming loose. So yeah, let go, and there we go. So when you can get it to work, it works well. Unfortunately, and this is a fault of the turtles and not the playset, but the turtles' hands are too loose. They become loose from the ladders and the grips on these bits. So as a result, they come falling off. The bits become detached. I had same problems with the setup with the zip line, in that when I was using Mikey's hand just kept coming away from the zip line, and it took some fiddling about. I can see that being a very frustrating aspect, especially for younger children who are playing with this. You know, they want to be able to play with this and use the action features featured in this playset. But obviously, you know, if the turtles' hands are too loose and they keep coming off, the kids are going to get frustrated with not being able to play with this in the way that they expected. So the one thing I completely forgot to mention, there is one other play feature to this, and that is the weight set. It's an included accessory. You have detachable weights which the turtles can hold on to and you use, obviously. However, the weight seat itself is an additional play feature. So, if you see if I can get this set up nicely. There we go. So, as you can see here, we have Raphael and Leatherhead's broken into the sewer there. Raphael jumps to action. You push down on the weight bench and Turtle and the weights go flying into our attacker. Now, Leatherhead has a tail which makes her sturdier than the others, but I wonder if we went and took... Let's bring Bebop in this time. Bebop's also there. Oh, it's time for Raphael to jump into action. And okay, that was a brilliant feature. That was a lot of fun. And I can see kids having fun with that point as well. So yeah, that was the other feature that I've forgotten to mention. I don't think there's any other play features in this that I have missed. As the box says, there's about 20 play features. And all, you have things like the lift, the doors, the rolling ooze ball, stair lift, which doesn't obviously work as well as we thought, the zip line. But before we get into that, I'm going to move into, I'm just going to set this up and we'll take a final look as I go through my final thoughts on this. And there we have the turtle sewer layer all set up. As you can see, there's plenty of space to pose your figures for play and action. You can get turtles standing up there. If you angle them right, you can have someone standing in the corner. There's really a lot of space for posability, playability, and just general turtle themed mayhem. So what are my final thoughts on the playset? I absolutely love the playset. I think it looks fantastic. You know, it's just solid pieces of plastic put together with some sticky tape, stickers and a cardboard back. But nonetheless, it still looks really lively. It feels like a decent playset. I like the look of it. I like the feel. The plastic's hard and solid. My biggest issues are primarily that some of the play features just don't work the way they should. And that's down to very small, minor design choices, which playmates could have easily resolved. So obviously the turtles themselves, the hand grips could have been tighter to, one, hold their weapons properly, and two, to be able to hold on to things like the ladders for the swinging action, or the zip lines. The stairwell, as I mentioned, is a very big disappointing feature, as it just... Oh, that worked that time. It worked. Brilliant. That was fun, and that's how it should work. But yeah, obviously 9 times out of 10 it doesn't work that way, which is a disappointment, and I can see it being a little frustrating for kids. And again, with that swinging ladder at the back, I can see that being a big disappointment and frustration for kids when they're trying to get that kicking action in play. But other than those minor gripes, there is so much fun to be had here, and I think kids, and let's remember here, this is a kid's toy. It is aimed at kids. Kids are going to love it. There's a lot here to play with, to interact with. It's a home for their turtles, and what kid doesn't want a sewer lair for their turtles? The use features are fun. I don't quite like the use consistency they've used, just because of how sticky it gets on the hands, but nonetheless it is fun to use. It's a fast moving ooze. So overall, yeah, those features are great. The lift works when the cardboard doesn't get stuck. As I said, I'm going to tape that down and that will stop it from moving. If you're a parent watching this, or even as just a collector watching this, you may want to do that just so that the lift works better on its own. Doors click nicely, but they're never too difficult to open. I think the detailings of having an actual loo inside the porta potty is fun, novelty. The stickers, while minor, do bring a lot of life to this. Only thing I would have maybe liked is a little sticker there, perhaps some water or something, just to add to it when the lift's up. I like the fact that you can easily connect and disconnect the subway station to expand the play and to give us more room in the sewer itself. Other than that, I don't really have a lot else to say. Do I think it's worth it? For the 90 quid you're paying, yes. I think compared to other toys out there, similar, or what should be similar price points, you're getting a really good deal. You know, if you think a couple of years ago that the big Titan class Transformers, they were at the £100 price point and now at 200, at double the price of what they originally were in a couple of years. And while this is smaller, it's still a little cheaper than what the 2012 or the Rise playsets were, despite the big increase in the cost of manufacturing these things. So I think that's fair. I think it's a reasonable price. Yeah, I can't see many parents going out and buying this on a Saturday afternoon for their kids. And if they do, you're a really, really lucky kid. But I can see this being an excellent piece for birthdays, and I can see this being one of the hot toys for Christmas. So I hope you've all enjoyed this video. I hope you like the look of the playset. I will be back in the future. In the meantime, I hope the film's as good as we're all expecting it to be. See you soon.